Hi. So, Sunday, I'm so glad to be at a place like Kala Ghoda. It's fantastic to be here. But the problem is that coming to places like this, spending a week here, spending some days here, you just don't want to go back on a Monday to work. You just don't, right? And here's why. Although you have that urge and the desire to just leave everything and walk away, here's why you can't. I quit my job and packed a sack and told myself I won't look back. But when I look ahead, I see this freedom needs a salary. So, with due apologies to anyone who's receiving a salary and is. Okay. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to read out a series of poems which I like to categorize in a cluster that I call punctuations, because life, as we all experience it, is not a linear thing. It's interspersed with moments of happiness, sadness, joy, anger. So too I believe that any collection of my poems in particular should not, and I would not do this, I wouldn't let it go according to one theme. So it's not thematic in terms of happy poems or sad poems. So I punctuate a very happy poem with one about the stark horror of war, and then I'll follow that up with something that convinces the reader or the listener to not take themselves or the poem seriously. So I'll begin with this fantasy I've had, this great desire that I've met some amazing people at the poetry club and other events, and I'm really impressed at certain people. I'm really overwhelmed by the fact that they are able to memorize their work and read it out without, these things. So it's a fantasy I had. I would have loved to do this without, but okay. So it's called Paperless. Today, I go paperless. I rid myself of that mess of printed sheets and scribbled on pages. Today is the day I escape those cages. Leaving those paginated crutches behind, I'll go with my heart and trust in my mind. To gain tentative freedoms, I'll accept certain losses. To find the right words, the appropriate pauses. With my hands unconstrained, I can gesticulate, and my spoken words becoming more articulate. My thoughts are sharper, my poems seem better now that I'm rid of those wood pulp fetters. But here's the thing about paperless defenders. Most of us, we are repeat offenders. Independence is nice, it's good to be free, but the question is this: do I want to be? I'm comfortable inside my paper-built jail. I'm not really free, I'm just out on bail. This freedom is just a temporary measure, while paper remains my pain and my pleasure. So until I next feel that burning need to break out of that prison or wish to be freed, the poems I present at such literary meets will be scribbled on pages and read off printed sheets. To do for you now is the words of an unnamed individual. Gender, age, religion unknown, doesn't matter. But it's someone who's tired of oppression and speaks with a politeness that's born of exhaustion. However, this is also the point at which we realize that this person's resolve has not diminished, far from it. In fact, from this point on, it can only keep getting stronger. It is at worst an idealist's dream, and at best, a nightmare for any oppressive entity. Sir, I have nothing more to say. At least not to you. Would you kindly let me go? You will call my parents. Wait, how old do you think I am? Do you even know who they are? I've been around for a while now. I'm not new to this place. You don't like me. I don't need you to. Sir, I use this term very lightly. If who I am offends, you need only close your eyes. Will you please let me go? Justice is blind. I knew you'd say that, but in my mind, justice is blinded. A hot poker pushed through unbelieving eyes. The blindfold is appropriate. You should wear one too. But I can see that you already are. Now listen. I am not Kejriwal or Anna. There will be no dharna. But when I tire of this detention, I only hope you remember. I did ask you nicely. Very difficult to live in for people with opinions that they choose to pursue and freedoms that they wish to live by. And this is something I wrote as, I don't know, it's an expression of that, the loss of that freedom. 4 lines, 6 lines. And so it was, without a pause, towards the void I fell. For if I have to choose from limiting views, I'll pick my own damn hell. Contemplative and serious, I'll just flip it all on his head. Any of you have spirit animals? You know, the wolf, the hawk, those noble creatures. I too have a couple of spirit animals, but they're not quite as noble as one might imagine. They're not the wolf or the hawk or the noble owl. Or it's a sheep and a cow. Very normal that way. So the next 2 ones are tributes to my spirit animals, which are a sheep and a cow. The first one's called A Sheep So Deep. My name's Sudeep, so. I am the sheep you cannot see. The grey sheep of the family. The one that's dark and yet is bright. A wondrous, carefree, stringless kite. I'm of the flock you cannot keep. My life's a metaphor, and the metaphor, a sheep. And the next one, I like to call bovine philosophy. To find green pastures and hunger satisfy, the cow must learn to moo on and learn to say goodbye. And though that next green pasture will make the cow content, the cow will not forget what that previous pasture meant. But the pasture is just a metaphor, though the cow is you and me. So till we find new pastures, we'll both just let it be. I am that book on your shelf that will never be read or even glanced at out of the corner of your eye, continuing to gather dust and silverfish until the day I'm gingerly taken out to make room for that one, really, and sent to my fate, consigned to the very bottom of even the Raddiwala's pile. I am that poem you begin to write but leave incomplete, impulsively formed lines in the kind of zone making you think, I'll get back to this soon, but why kid yourself? You won't. What I'd give to join those other pages as they fall with their phrases and lie discarded, torn, crumpled, but together. I am volume in a soundproof place, noiseless screams in the vacuum of space. And since we are talking of space, you might as well say it. Your life has none for mine. So remember the last poem, I'm like, that one really? So there's been a whole genre of books, yeah, that's been spawned through the genesis of one single book that came out. I won't name the book or the author, but and it's spawned a whole category of literature that is not really literature, but people read it nevertheless, and people get rich doing this, man. And I'm like, I want to make money through my writing. You know, I don't want to die a poor poet. So I tried to write one of these novels, and it turned out to work better as a poem. So this is what I did. Oops, in start I broke my heart, but didn't know why or how. But that night I said, yeah, right. I think it must be love. Very fastly my heart beated, but not to be defeated. I took this decision lastly. I went to her and said, I am Sir. You will be my lady? Oh gosh, it was trap, for I got a hard slap. And she said to me, why so shady? This thing happened twice and still I have no wife or girlfriend or lover or friend. The best thing now in this vacuum of love is for this poem to come to end. But hey, who says ending cannot be sending potential for new beginning? On this you can trip. Life is Mobius strip. And now I am happy and grinning. I am, as a simple farmer, trapped between two worlds. Here, the rivers are drying. Fertile soil turns to dirt. This world is dying. And there, the other is still in birth. So I'm always trying to solve that universal riddle. If this is here and that is there, where the hell is the middle? But the fulcrum, that balance, that perfect center is illusory, elusive, an imagined realm I cannot enter. And it seems I am fated either to be left behind or right ahead. If only my vision was clearer, I'd be nearer to understanding why they'd hung my head and said to me, you weren't, you aren't, you'll never be free. Now I'm relegated to a box, a fenced farm, the furthest thing from rural calm, growing cash as crops within mazes that must be navigated with zero stops. Mercy, please. I did not ask to be a farmer, but if I must, let me farm with a pen. If my crop should fail, only I will starve. Here's a word to the wise, to the people who know things, sift the truth from the lies for the knowledge that it brings. The knowledge we can use to diffuse, disabuse the sheeple of their notions that just serve to confuse. Confusion and commotion, they are both heaving like an ocean, like a river that's in flood, overflowing with spilled blood. The blood of our sisters, of our brothers, of our kind. A genocide of feelings and the murder of the mind. A mind that we numb with our TVs and our phones. LOL, BRB, can't you feel it in your bones? We're at a tipping point and we only need a shove. Do we fall down and go under now, or do we rise above? Rise above all the anger and the poison and the hate. Remember Terminator, it is said there is no fate, but that which we make for ourselves we can choose from the views that we share. Be aware, be the news. Revolutions only happen when we are brave, when we dare to be good, to compare and be better as we should. Be free from those fetters, those that chain us using letters. C-A-S-T-E cast, C-L-A-S-S class. It's all from the past, but our present has it too. So let's fight in the present for a future that is new, for a future that is greater than the sum of me and you.